The coffee cup trembled slightly in Grace Morrison's hands as she wiped down table 12 for the third time that evening. At 36, she'd spent 8 years serving at Morrison's Fine Dining, her father's once famous restaurant chain, now owned mostly by investors. She'd learned to move quietly among the wealthy, invisible but observant. Tonight, a storm brewed both outside and in. At her station sat Charles Whitman, the ruthless CEO known for crushing family businesses. His silver hair gleamed under the chandeliers as he barked orders into his phone, surrounded by stacks of legal documents. Grace didn't know it yet, but in 20 minutes this arrogant man would unknowingly hand her back everything he'd stolen. Another scotch. "Meat," he ordered, not even glancing up. "And clear these papers." "I need space," Grace obeyed, but as she moved the papers, her eyes caught familiar words: transfer of ownership, acquisition, liability release. Her law training stirred awake, the one she never got to finish after dropping out of Columbia to care for her father. She saw it immediately. These weren't just business papers, they were contracts for the hostile takeover of Morrison's restaurant group, her family's legacy. Her pulse quickened. Then she heard it. Whitman on the phone, muttering, "Morrison's daughter? She's out of the picture." "Doesn't even know what she signed." Grace froze. He was talking about her. Years ago, when her father fell ill, his partner, Mr. Henderson, had brought her papers to sign for hospital expenses. She hadn't realized she was signing away their company. But now, as she stood there, the waitress nobody noticed, she saw the truth in black and white. She approached quietly. "Excuse me, sir," she said. "I couldn't help but notice those are Morrison's documents. My father used to work there." Whitman sneered. "Your father? Probably some cook who got fired. These are corporate contracts, way above your pay grade. You wouldn't understand a word of this." Grace smiled politely. "You're right, sir. Legal documents aren't really my thing." She turned away, heart pounding, because she did understand. And she had a plan. During her break, Grace sat in her old car, rain pounding the windshield, and called her father's lawyer. When he answered, his tone was grave. "Grace, Henderson's been falsifying documents for months. If those transfers go through, you'll lose everything by morning." Grace stared at the dashboard, exhausted, angry, and done being invisible. Her father had taught her to fight with integrity, to never back down from what was rightfully hers. Tonight she'd honor that lesson. When she returned, Whitman wasn't alone. Henderson had arrived, pale and sweating. Grace approached with her waitress tray. "Gentlemen," she said warmly. "Coffee?" The two men froze. Henderson's eyes widened. "Grace, what are you doing here?" "I work here, remember?" she said with a calm smile. "How's my father, by the way?" "Still recovering from signing all that paperwork?" Whitman frowned. "You two know each other?" "Grace is Frank Morrison's daughter," Henderson said quickly. "But don't worry, she's just a waitress. Dropped out of law school years ago." Something inside her shifted. The dismissal in his tone was fuel. She placed the coffee pot down gently, scanning the papers one last time. And there it was, the flaw. The power of attorney documents Henderson used lacked witness signatures. Legally invalid. Even better, her father's original contract had a right of first refusal clause, meaning she, as his heir, had the right to buy back any stake before it was sold to outsiders. "Mr. Whitman," Grace said softly, her voice steady now, "before you sign those, you should know this acquisition violates Section 4.2 of the original Morrison-Henderson Partnership Agreement. And without proper witness signatures, your power of attorney documents are worthless." Whitman froze. "That's impossible," he hissed. "You're a waitress." Grace smiled, calm, poised, unstoppable. "And you," she said, "are attempting corporate fraud. I suggest you stop before I call my lawyer or the district attorney." The restaurant went silent. Henderson's hands shook. Within hours, he confessed everything. Whitman's acquisition collapsed overnight. 3 months later, Grace sat by her father's hospital bed, holding his hand. "Dad, it's over. We got it back." His eyes filled with tears, and though he couldn't speak much, the pride in his gaze said it all. Her father had left behind more than memories. He'd left a hidden trust fund for her, enough to buy back the company legally under the right of first refusal clause. 6 months later, Grace Morrison became CEO of Morrison's Restaurant Group, worth $47 million. But she didn't stop there. She went back to law school at night, determined to protect small business owners from predators like Whitman. When she finally passed the bar exam, her first case was pro bono, defending a struggling family restaurant from corporate fraud. Charles Whitman? He was under investigation for multiple counts of falsification and fraud. His empire crumbled, built on arrogance and deceit. As for Grace, she rebuilt her father's dream, one restaurant, one community at a time. And on quiet nights, she still wiped down table 12 herself, smiling softly. Because once, at that very table, a waitress everyone underestimated remembered who she truly was, and walked away not just a billionaire, but something rarer, unbreakable.